Welcome back, everybody. The Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here. And of course, I'm joined, as always, with both of my co hosts, Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. And we've got a football game recap episode for you, recapping this UConn game. But of course, as always, the game recap episodes of the Blazer Victory Podcast are brought to you by Cahaba Brewing Company. And shout out to Cahaba Brewing Company. We're going to spotlight the Oka Uba IPA today because as I've said plenty of times, this is one of my favorite beers and 7% ABV. So, UAB football fans, let's go ahead and dig in. But seriously, shout out to Cahaba for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you for the partnership. And shout out to YouTube. Hey, we've got up to 325 subscribers on the Blazer Victory YouTube channel. So we are aiming for 500. And again, even if you just listen to the audio, our audio numbers are strong, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever. If you can, click the link in your show notes and just subscribe to the YouTube channel, even if you don't plan on watching us. That helps us out tremendously. So
shout out to you. You ready for the big time? You ready for commercials? The well-timed opening of the can.
I hope my mic picked that up. Did my mic pick it up?
Oh yes, we heard it.
Up, man. I think she was doing. I was like, look at this, ready for big time. Get John.
Let's go. Hey, hey,
John, you probably need to think about hitting the transfer portal, bro. Like you probably get recruited by these other big time podcast companies.
I was going to say, man, do we need to just make this like a Western Kentucky podcast or something? Because UAB football, Trent Dilfer finds different ways to lose these ball games. And he definitely found a new way this past Saturday to blow a double-digit fourth quarter lead as UAB falls. Oh, do I even have the back? Okay, 31-23 to the UConn Huskies. And gentlemen, where do we want to start?
That first half looked pretty good, fellas.
Hey, man, with the monsoon, it was 20-3 the first half. Things were looking pretty good. And then I was just telling Elizabeth, I said, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way.
Well, I know we talked on the previous episode previewing the game. I had mentioned that UConn appeared to be a better team in the second half because in all of their games they had scored more points in the second half than the first, outside of a blowout win against Merrimack. And that trend certainly continued in this game. So they had 3 in the first half, right? Then they had 28 in the second half. And speaking of second halves, UAB, our Blazers, have not fared well in second halves against FBS competition this year. So in second halves, UAB is getting outscored 76-170, which is a difference of 94. This is unfortunately something that we've seen and talked about before. So last year, I can remember sharing the stat after the North Texas game that UAB had been outscored by FBS opponents in year 1 under Dilfer by 108 points. So we're sitting at 94 net differential with 3 games remaining. And so that trend is unfortunately carried over into year 2.
Yeah, and there's something in that trend that shows you that there's something in it, in the thinking, in the system of how we adjust to the game going forward. It's something that's not matching up. And most of the time that comes from the head coach down. Some way, I remember going back to last year, we would always love that first game script. It was like past that first game script, we don't know what's going to happen. But those first couple of plays were like on the money. But then when it was time to like make those adjustments on the fly, like knowing what the feel of the game is and, all those type of stuff, it's like we're not able to say, okay, no, this is working this game. Let's keep with this. And what's so frustrating about this game is we had it working. We had it going. Lee Beebe was cooking in the first half. And I hate it. We kept on going to that little cute, weird formation thing when we have the linemen out. It's like, hey man, that ain't what we had. Amari Thomas break one on because a guy missed a tackle on the screenplay. It wasn't because of the design of the play. Amari Thomas made a guy miss. All the other times we got in that weird formation, we were getting stopped, minus one quarterback run that we did that was block will, and I'm gonna get into all of it as far as the details. It's just the overall general feel right now. Adjustments in the second half. The lack of adjustments at this time was we didn't need the adjustments. Like I don't get it. We made an adjustment to like kind of like not run the ball in a sense, and I don't. Somebody have to explain that to me. It's kind of bring me back to the ULM game. It's kind of like we had our mind made up of what we wanted to do. It's like we're gonna be mean, rough, and tough, and we're gonna win this game this way. And it's like the game is not even calling for that. Let's adjust to maybe how we can win the game. Nah. So this game is like we did the opposite. It was like, you know what? But we want to win the game this way. We want to win it by being air raid or whatever we're trying to do. And it's kind of like, we could have just stuck with what we were doing instead of being all cutesy and mad and being the mad scientist, and that didn't work.
Just to complement that, so you mentioned about really, in my opinion, abandoning the run game in the second half, and you mentioned BB's first half. He had 14 for 107 and a touchdown. He only carried the ball 3 times in the second half. So he ended with 17 carries. So again, after going for 14, 107 and a score, including the score right there at the end of the first half to put UAB up 20-3, he had 3 carries in the second half. And for the game, even despite going away from the run game, UAB finished with 170 rushing yards for 5.2 per carry. And that 5.2 per carry was a season high versus FBS competition. We had, I think, 193, or I should say, yeah, the 5.2 average was a season high. 170 yards was the second best outing. We had 193 versus Navy in that blowout. But yeah, the philosophies have certainly changed. When we saw one quarterback switch to the second quarterback, we're seeing more downfield stuff, more high volume passing, all of which is fine. I mean, some of which we were asking for. But to go away from something that's working, that was really frustrating.
And a legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach, Darrell Royal used to say, on a forward pass, there are 3 things that can happen on a forward pass, and 2 of them are bad. And we saw both of those. Like, I just don't understand it, man. Lee Beebe, and you guys have hit on it, had over 100 rushing yards in the first half. The man in his Trent in his post game presser said, well, they were playing us soft. Well, yeah, that's why the run game was working in the first half, and they were still playing you soft in the second half. And I don't know, like, just thought you still needed to pass it and get too cutesy with these formations that you have put on film time and time again. And I get it, like, you're upset about the one fumble, or it was a quick little tip pass to was it Shanks, I think.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, you didn't need to do all that. You had 3 turnovers in the second half, 4 turnovers total in the game. And we mentioned the weather, the impact of the weather in our preview. Like, what in their right mind was Trent Dilfer thinking that we needed to air it out? How many pass attempts did Kitna have? 42 passing attempts. And Lee Beebe was establishing it. He ended up with 17 carries, 115 yards. But like I said, he had over 100 yards in the first half. Why in the world do you not continue to feed him? Were you trying to make a statement like, oh, this is another Tulsa, let's beat them by 60 points or whatever? No, this is a damn good UConn football team. Jim Moore is a hell of a good coach. He wasn't good with the Falcons, but that is what it is. But I just do not understand for the life of me. And we have been told, even in last week's weekly presser, that he will at times overrule the Alex Mortensen. And I do not know. I don't want to say I know, but doesn't for y'all, don't it kind of think like, hey, like he might have got involved a little bit in the second half?
I
Per
don't know if
se?
it was Trent. If I don't know if it was Alex. It was one of them. Maybe Trent was letting them go and he was letting them do his snap. Whoever it was one of the two. They got
Yeah.
in their own way. Obviously, anybody with a brain. The most egregious. What I was just looking up. I was just making sure on that drive when we were up 23-10. How many? I don't know how many minutes was left in it. Probably only like 2 minutes or so left in the game. In the third quarter, we're up 23-10. We convert on 3rd and 8, right? We convert on 3rd and 8. We're at UConn's 25. We're in. My boy DeLonga, he's gonna knock. We have 6 points. I mean, we have 3 points right there.
Shout out. I'm sorry, I should have led with this. I met Jonah DeLonga's family before the game. Wonderful people. So shout out to Jonah. Hey, you were the one bright spot of the season. I'm sorry, Darren.
Yeah, no, it's all good because we know we have 3 points in the bag. We're at the 25. First down, 1st and 10. We have 3 points. We're up. We are up. And it is at that point, it was only like 50. No, it was only 14 seconds left in the third, and we're up 23-10. And I'm getting stressed out thinking about this, but we're up 23-10. 14 seconds left. We have 3 points in the bag. Run BB special this. Off guard to the right, off guard to the left, off tackle to the right. Well, guess what? It's, at that time, we in the fourth quarter, we got time running. We kick a field goal. It's 26-10. We have those, and then we're forcing them to be out of. They want to run the ball. They still want to have their ability to run the ball. I mean, I thought that was like when I saw them do like a play action. I saw like we passing the ball. We passing the ball on first down. We have all of these advantages in our favor. Why do we pass the ball? Why are you getting ahead of why are you getting in the way of the players of what's been working? We wasted probably our best offensive line game. That's what's really pissed me off. Our offensive line was cooking. Our tight ends, I was very critical of our offensive line and our tight ends. And when we were up and as the third quarter was going, I was like, I'm going to make sure I highlight these tight ends and these offensive linemen because I was on their tail, the USF game. But this game, I'm super proud of him. Super proud because he had all the time in the world back there to throw the ball. A lot of times those kitten sacks, the ones that he did have, a lot of them, one was kind of like a running back one. A lot of them, he was holding on to the ball really long. Sometimes he does that where he hold on to the ball and he kind of dancing around. I'm like, he's not that nimble. He can make stuff happen like a little bit, but I think you're not Patrick Mahomes. Like, you kind of need to get rid of the ball a little sooner. But that's just my take on it. But that interception right there just really, that really pinched the nerve because I started getting, I hate having that feeling this year. I'm like, even he intercepted on the 1 yard line. I still was like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened, period. And to me, that was a sign of those 3 points are going to come in large at some point, and they did. I just had a feeling, and here we are, and then you want to be upset on the pitch forward, pass, whatever, fumble. Hey, we shouldn't even call the freaking play. We should have just handed the ball off, right? Just hand it off. We don't have to be cutesy. We don't have to mad scientist, look what I can do. We know your formations are great. We know the play design is great. But sometimes BB special that thing and just run the ball, especially since it's been working and the man hasn't touched the ball in the second half. Just give him the ball. And then the third time, the other fumble we had, again, he got the ball in Lee BB's hands. And Lee BB fumbled the ball. But it was on a pass. Just hand it off. I'm not saying that, hey, it worked, the play worked or whatever, but all we're saying is just like we don't need to call it. It was a big punt return. We're down 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Big punt return, 50-yard line. We got all the momentum. We're being physical. Our guys just hand the ball off. we'll be in field goal range. We can go up 2 points. But no, we want to pass again. Again, the ball was complete. He had it in his hand. He went to make a move. He fumbled it. It was another close call that didn't go our way. I get it. But sometimes I feel like we kind of go into these games saying this is what we're going to do to win the game, and we're going to do it no matter what, versus, you know what? Hey, no, we ain't got to do that. The game is telling us we can just run a counter play to the right, and we can gash him for 6 yards. Or that's what, if the game is telling you that, why do you have to be like, why do you have to win your way? Just win, because we're not winning. Look at our record. We beat Tulsa, maybe good, but not all of that is erased, because we came out here for a team with no expectations. We found and a group of a fan base with no expectations. We found a way to upset them. So, hey, here we are.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
I mean, that was like that really summed up like a lot of it.
Yeah,
it's just like the same stuff like that we've been talking about like forever. Outside of, I mean, 4 turnovers is a lot, but I mean the red zone opportunities, getting down there and not punching it in, settling for field goals. I mean, it's been a trend. It's been an issue, really specifically this season, and it's hurt UAB countless time and time again, and just across the board. I mean, UAB has had some moments where they've been successful on the offensive side. I mean, you look at success rate for this ball game, UAB offense was more successful than UConn by a tid. But then you look at the other areas, UAB didn't take advantage of those opportunities. We just said field position was not in UAB's favor, the turnover, like those big things, lack of explosive. There was some explosive plays, but, you know, still not to where you would want it to be, have just continued to be a problem over and over again. I thought it was interesting at the end of the game, when the backup for UConn came in, and just his ability to sling the ball. Like, I had not watched any UConn going into the season, but that was disheartening to have the backup come in. And again, I don't know anything. I can't even tell you the backup's name at this present moment, but to see him come in and throw the ball around is tough. What did y'all think? What did y'all think of Kitna? Because we talked about Kitna in our last episode. He had such a good game. What was it, 404 and 6 touchdowns against Tulsa. And then this game, we talked about the progression, the interceptions that were going down. We talked about the QBR going up. And this game felt like somewhat of a step back. 22 of 42 for 233 and 2 picks. I think it was a little bit of a step back. And the reason why I bring up Kidna was because I don't know if y'all heard on the Blazer Sports line this past week, but again, we talk about these philosophies and the change in them. And this past week in Blazer Sports line, Trent said that he thinks that Kidna is going to be he said special player who will play in the NFL for a long time, and I believe that he's going to be a first round pick if we continue to develop him. We heard in the broadcast a few weeks ago, I forgot it was a road game, maybe an Army, where they said he had top 10 potential. But, I mean, those are high accolades, for a guy to be a first-round draft pick at the quarterback position. Hell, I hope it happens. I was hoping to get Darius.
Come on, man. Like, John, you got...
I saved that quote all weekend. Yeah. I did not bring the quote out until the show to get a live reaction.
Definitely a big step back. I mean, the only bright spot was against Tulsa, and hell, I might could have thrown for 100 yards against Tulsa. I mean,
there was like 2 near picks in that Tulsa game, and he almost just dropped the ball on a fumble as well. Like, turnovers have been a problem.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine against Tulsa, like John Duncan to Jimmy Marion for 76 yards? But no, man, I don't. The reason I made that sound because I do not care at this point. As a UAB fan, you should not care about any of that lip service, because guess what? That's the same thing you were saying about Jacob Zeno. And now the dude, I don't even know where he's at. It's like
where is Jacob Zeno?
He was on the sideline. I did see him on the sideline.
Huh?
I did see him on the sideline this game.
I didn't even see him. I'm like, dang, like he was being forced in front of any microphone possible, and now it's kind of like, Jacobs is just, he's just chilling, like it, he's just, he's traveling around the world. It's like, where's like Carmen Sandiego? Like, where's Jacob? You know what
John,
I'm saying?
you should ask him. You should ask him for the presser for a status update on Jacob.
Oh man, hey, but I'm at the point. Seriously, why not put in Liddy? Why not start Liddy? Why give another guy an opportunity? Start Adrian Posse. Start Trace Campbell. I mean, we saw him a couple of plays. I mean, just why in the world you're 2-7? You don't have anything. There is nothing to win for this rest.
Nate Rodgers. Throw Nate Rodgers.
I mean, hell, hey, throw Iverson Hooks in the Wildcat or Cam Shake. Do something, because the season is a failure. You don't have anything to play for. These players don't have anything. And I, Jimmy told us the radio post game. He was talking about yada yada, rivalry game.
Well, I give you the quote right now. He said, now we are in the business of upsetting people and ruining their season.
Oh, you ain't gonna ruin Charlotte's and Rice season. I mean, come on.
Why'd you have to ruin our season though first?
I mean, come on now, because you are too stubborn. You have been stubborn this whole damn year. And you don't know what your philosophy, what your identity is, because you don't know what you want to do. Like, this is ridiculous.
Or he knows what he want to do in a game plan.
Well, yeah.
The feel of the game is telling you that this is working. Again, shout out to our offensive line. They were physical. They were opening lanes. They were providing time. I'm like, when your offensive line is when they are rolling like that, you lean on them. You want to know those games that we upsetted the Southern Misses and, we did all that. We were cooking up front. I don't want to toot our own horn, but we were. Yeah. And at least Callaway, people can say what they want to, but we played tougher teams, and he knew to lean on us in those times, right? We had a young quarterback. We could just hand it off. We can run it. And we can beat some good teams, especially if we can block them. Why couldn't we just run the ball? Why does he have 42 pass attempts? And I know we're saying Jalen Killer, it seemed like a step back, but at the same time, I'm like, but he was put in that position. He ain't calling the plays. I'm pretty sure he liked those plays, right? He liked those opportunities, but honestly, he shouldn't have had all of those opportunities. It should have been way more balanced, And then we got lucky some plays like that play to Cam Shanks where he just running around and just threw it to him. Then Shanks reverse field and made something out of nothing. It's good to be like, oh, yeah, that's good. We made, but at the same time, it's kind of like when he was running around and stuff. I hold my breath. You know how certain guys what's the quarterback from Liberty, Caden Salter. Mm. When he was running around against us, I was holding my breath like, man, I don't. Some certain quarterbacks, if he get loose, bro, he can make a play. Man, just let it be over with. Please get him to the ground. But when Jalen get to doing all that, I'm like, bro, please. It's gonna end in a turnover. That's what I'm thinking most of the time. I'm like, especially when he started running the ball. I'm like, dude, put the ball up. Put it, just don't.
How have they not taught that after what this was his fourth start, right? Correct.
He was diving down. He got down. At least he got. I was like, they must have said something to him, but it's still scary because he tends to kind of run around and he want to make a play. Sometimes I'm like, dude, just check it down. Just check it down. And he want to push it down the field. They even talked about it on the broadcast, but he still scares me, y'all, and I just think he is put into these positions. I don't think it's him. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's better than Zeno. Just me, as of right now. You know what I'm saying? A couple of games in, he wasn't our number one guy going in. I'm being totally fair to him. Who knows if he would have had all of the spring reps and all of those, maybe he would have. But from right now, I don't think so. But he's done an admirable job. That being said, he scares the hell out of me when he's running around, and I just want him to throw the ball away half of the time. Just run it with BB. He's 225 pounds, 6.9 or whatever yards per carry at some point. Just turn it and BB it, bro. Just hand it
Well,
off.
Darian, hey, you got to make sure that little brother stays committed to this program. You know, I
Well,
mean,
I want to say this though. Like, I bring up the quote because it's just outrageous. Like, it's just outrageous to say, like, to think. And hey, I want to dream. I want to dream big. Like, believe me. But it's one thing to be like, hey, Kitna, we think that he's going to be like one of the best quarterbacks like in this conference. Like, we can mold him, develop him. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's one thing, right? It's just like I can't even just give you an example of how far it is to be like, we think this guy can be a first round draft pick. I mean, for that to happen at the quarterback position is just a crazy thing to say. And I hope it happens.
Ridiculous.
It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. So I saved it all week. I just had to bring it up and get y'all's live reaction.
So like think about it. It's like Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Jalen Kitna. Where does that even make sense? That doesn't
Trent may have some good connections.
Huh?
I think Trent's got some good connections, maybe with the 49ers or with the Ravens or somebody.
That doesn't even make
he could pick up his phone right now and he could just make it happen. How about that?
hey, when people were trying to raid his roster, he said he had connections at ESPN that he was going to put a stop to it and name names. Yeah, has that happened?
Y'all about to see a team get raided this offseason.
I was going to say, you're about to see 70, 80 players hit the portal.
Hey, shout out to Ricky Lee playing on
Hey,
Saturday.
yeah, shout out. Hey, we saw the tweet that morning, and I was like, all right, Jimmy was right. He was going to play. He's going to play.
Just using some of that logic. It's like, like 4 games left. He's been practicing for a while. Like, you can still play in 4 games and still transfer to an SEC team or somewhere.
And for what it's worth, I hope they don't. Guess what, guys? Guess what? Breaking news. We got to commit today.
Oh, yeah, we did get
it.
Yeah.
Who is that?
I can't think it. I had to go back and look at his name, but he was a receiver. Got a couple offers. He's a pretty good player,
I've been off social for a week, everybody. All listeners, like, I deactivated my accounts for a week, taking a break, so that's why I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah, I had to send it to you, but it was a pretty good receiver, pretty good looking player, and bro, like if we can, maybe we find ways. Maybe we find. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, but maybe we find ways to keep
Jalen Elder.
I love Kelvin Hill, man. Like I think Kelvin Hill has been everything we thought we were going to get out of the portal and guys like Jackie Beck and stuff like that. It's been in a true freshman in Kelvin Hill. He's been wonderful.
Is that our defensive lineman's brother?
What's that?
Octavius Elder?
Oh, his last name is Elder. What you say?
Jalen Elder, Morgan County High School.
That's where Octavius Elder's from, right?
Well, that might be.
Elder UAB. We're getting this right now. Yeah, Morgan County. That's got to be his brother.
So that means that we're keeping Elder.
How many brothers we're gonna have? We're gonna have BB. We're gonna have the Kitna. We're gonna have the Elders. I like it.
We gotta work it somehow, man. We gotta.
Yeah. Hey, you gonna be running that triple option soon?
I mean,
the way things are going. When was this commit today? And it's good. I'm glad Elder committed. When was the last commit? We've all seen just decommitments.
We don't have decommitments than commitments, but right. I don't know, man. I can't really tell you. One thing that I did, I thought about this is like I thought we had a plan of like recruiting freshmen based off how we recruited when Trent first got here. I thought we were going to recruit freshmen and just build. And then we kind of switched up philosophies and went like transfer portal. And then we did the whole spring transfer portal thing in which Trent himself, I think one of y'all pointed it out, one of the pods we did. Trent himself said that the statistics show that most of the time those guys aren't that productive. Here we are. And a lot of those spring transfers just really hasn't gelled or they haven't played. Like it just hasn't really been that good. So maybe we should have just stuck with our philosophy of just getting freshmen because guess what? The best guy we done had out there is Kelvin Hill.
Yeah.
I like LD Cox and what he's brought up, like what DJ Jones has brought. Like shout out to those guys, but Last year we had Amari Thomas and Everett Rousseau and Ricky Lee. I thought I saw a vision, and just like the game plan, what are we doing? I thought we were going heavy development, heavy freshman kind of thing, especially in this landscape of where we at with NIL and transfer portal. I don't think we can compete with some certain teams. Let's say that's something you can sell to recruits. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can come here, you can play but we'll develop you. Look at Amari Thomas. Look at, like, we can do that. But now I'm like, can we even say that now? Because we kind of switched philosophies. And why? Because we had something that was working. I thought it was working. We had hope. But hey, who am I? You know what I'm saying?
That's on three. On three said that.
Yes.
Go. No, you need to say that.
Quote it. Yeah, because if it's a quote from on three, quote it. Yeah, we can't get in trouble for that. Shoot.
There's a thread on Blazer Talk from Pete Nako's on three, and it says, quote, athletic director Mark Ingram's future may be tied to Dilfer's, sources have said. Sources tell on three they expect UAB to open up. That Blazer Talk thread opened up, or it was made 3 days ago. So
who do y'all think it is when they say sources?
I mean, on three's legit. I mean, if on three's reporting that,
Pete Nako's is legit. So
so somebody's talking somewhere.
Who is sources?
I mean, we talked about it off the air, but this UAB football program, if things don't get better, it's going to be in bad shape. And I'm not talking about years down the road. What are we right now? You're guaranteed to have back-to-back losing seasons for the first time since 2012, 2013. I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse. Like, Bill Clark did not bring the fans, the people that rallied around. We did not bring this football program back from the dead to go 2-7, to go 4-8, and not to have anybody held accountable. Like, this is
FAU. Tom Herman, he just fired his DC today.
DC,
I don't know if y'all saw that.
Kennesaw State.
The coaches are gone. Yep.
We saw Rice.
ECU. But it's more about the coordinators. Like, I don't know what the buyout situation is for a guy like a Kennesaw State, but like at the very least, you can make coordinator changes. Like, there's been so many of which, and I know we kind of had that back and forth whenever it was a week or two ago. I don't feel any more confident that it's going to happen. Of course, I feel like it should, but I mean, to John's point, I mean, it's dark. I still remember sitting back here. It's been a while since we recorded at night. I remember sitting back here after the ULM game and whatever it was, week 2, and like rock bottom. And like, it's still, I mean, that was an emotional podcast for me. And, the whole season just felt like it was over through 2 weeks. And like, here we are, and there's 3 weeks to go. And now there really isn't that much to play for. You can say to send the seniors out strong against Rice, or try to get that trophy next week, or get that first road win. There's going to be a different kind of story every week. Battle for the bones. Is that how you say it? The trophy for this weekend. Senior day, and then that first road win, like, it's probably going to be the 3 things that you're fighting for. But I mean, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. At the macro level, there are so many issues that just have to be addressed. And at the very, very least, if nothing else happens, there has to be at least a coordinator change to shake things up, like to show us that you got a pulse. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, I agree. Like, Florida State let go their OC and DC today as well. This was a team that was undefeated last year. Now, I know they only won 1 game this year, but you see they didn't stand for it. They were like, something got to change. We got to shake something up. And here we are, 2 years into it. You look at Protective Stadium. I can yell across and yell and talk to John from the home and away side. It's super bad. Like, let's be real, and you can't be y'all. Again, I'm coming back to this. Don't tell people you don't got the right to sit there and tell somebody. Don't make sure to show up. You have to y'all try to make people feel like they have to come to the games. No, they don't. No, they don't. They want a better product out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do choose to go to the game, I applaud you. I really do, because it take a lot to sit through this, and you trying to be there for the program. I applaud that, but you don't have the right to try to sit there and force other people and try to shame them into to go. No, we need a better product out there, and that they have the choice not to go to the game. I can agree with them for feeling that way, don't be mad at that. But again, we just need to. We're losing everything. I'm so used to what's the inferno we would have that
recruiting.
The
recruiting weekend.
Yeah, that recruiting. We would always have at least at minimum 6 commitments. Off that one weekend. That's at minimum, right? I've seen it to where it's 10 guys commit. All at one time. I'm like, we don't have any of that momentum. I used to always look forward to that. It's like, man, we don't have that in recruiting. We don't have the wins and losses. We don't have the identity. We have a salesman, right? Because if you sitting here, you telling me about Jalen Kitna, I'm hearing those words. When you first got hired, you effed up because you were talking about going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Seeing entering an era of UAB football never seen before, right?
Well, we haven't seen this before, so he's right.
The way he talked about his staff, though, the way he talked about his staff to hiring the best minds, and I mean, everything's just been. You don't have to say all that. You just don't have to. You can find anywhere in the middle of the spectrum there. You can say, I'm hiring people around me that I trust and I think are good football minds. But then when you're like, hey, I've been around Tony Dungy and, all this stuff, and it's you don't have to do all that. He stood up there at the AAC presser, I think it was before the first season, he was talking about Alex Mortensen. He's like, hey, I'm not going to have him for very long. And I don't think that, I don't think a lot about the offensive staff. So I'm not even sitting here to try to say anything about Alex Mortensen, but offensively as a whole has not been where we need to be, at UAB this season. So, but I mean, just to your point there, and it's just been the craziest stuff. And that's why I listen to all these interviews. I'm like, what is he going to say next? What is this? And can hey, we've talked about this. We've been 38 minutes in. We haven't said nothing about practice. We got to talk about.
I guess they don't practice second halves.
Yeah, we strictly practice first half. That's what we do. We at some point we have to. Nobody is gonna listen to anything that you say.
No,
because you say all of these grander, very out there type of things. And when you first got hired, I was pumped because I'm like, oh, he's going forward. Everybody was pumped, but it's all about the meat and potatoes. And now I see guys like Bill Clark. They was just all about, hey, yeah, that's good, but guess what? We're gonna know how to tackle. And when you hear stuff like that, it's kind of like we want to go to the playoffs. We're gonna really get in here and be physical and block and be together. That's what I get. Don't nobody really want to hear that, but now all I want to hear is that.
And they had an offensive identity with Bill Clark and
exactly.
Bob Vincent. So we knew what we was going to do.
We knew it, and we knew at the level that they were going to do it. We were going to give you hell about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like certain boxers. It's like, this guy's style. Some guy's going to come in and they're just going to swing away. They're brawlers. It's like, he's not a technical guy, but god dang it, he catch you, he'll knock you out. It's kind of how we played, We caught some teams, we knocked them out, and we were tough. We could take punches, but now I don't know what we are, bro. We go with the win.
I'll say this: if On3 has these sources and that's actually a possibility, I don't know how you do it any other way than to make a change in the AD tomorrow and then hire an AD in the next 3 weeks. And then that AD hires a new coach I mean, the timeline of the season is that you go straight into the recruiting and, the, winter break and bring in the transfer portal and all that stuff. And it's like, you can't get to December 5th or 6th or whatever and fire an AD and a coach at the same time, because who's going to hire the replacement coach? And to have that confusion there, like I don't think it's going to happen, but if somebody was going to do it and they really wanted to screw us, you know what they would do? They'd wait to the end of the season, fire them both, and then we'd be in purgatory, like all the way through signing day and all the way up till January. Like it would set us back, in my opinion, next year pretty badly. Like if that's going to happen, you have to make a change tomorrow, and you have to give that person, you go get an AD, and then their first job is to hire a head coach. They're going to have a week or 2 weeks to do it. And then that coach, when they get hired, is going to be like Bryant Vincent was when we went to Louisiana Monterey. Had 1 week to go sign like 30, 40 people. And the season's just around the corner from being done. So just something to follow.
Is Bill Clark still available?
If you
hey Bill, is the back feeling a little bit better now, or in that situation?
If there was a change in AD, would it be a possibility? He'll let Bill Clark do both jobs.
He would be a phenomenal athletic director too.
Yeah,
I agree.
I just don't think. I honestly wouldn't mind him coming. I honestly wouldn't mind Trent coming back next year, because like all the reasons you stated. But now I wonder, like, what will you say? You've been punched. You don't have the whole first year thing, and you talked all of this stuff now. Have you ever gotten it? There's like somebody about to get into a fight and they talk all of this noise and they get their ass whooped. Like, just get straight knocked out in front of their girlfriend. Your girlfriend leave you. You're laid out bloody. So this is what happened. This is what has happened to Trent. I feel like with this UAB football program, it's like girlfriend done left you, done got embarrassed. You went viral, from getting beat up. It's all on the internet. So now what do you do? How do you respond? What have you learned? I'm honestly interested. Honestly, I'm interested in knowing like how he will talk. If you put that camera in front of that microphone, can you just be like, you know what? This is our goal. We're gonna really just work on tackling and being physical, and hey, we're gonna take it a day at a time, or is it gonna be like, this guy's a first round pick, he's an NFL player? Man, they was talking about all these NFL players on our team. I'm like, dude, we are 2-7. Wow, if I'm an NFL team, why am I looking at the quarterback of a 2-7 team? I'm looking at his stats. He got more. I think at this point, he probably got more interceptions than touchdowns. That Tulsa game probably saved him. I'm not looking at that dude, bro. He's not on my radar to be a free agent pickup. Not right now. That's the truth. That is the truth. He's not a first round guy. He's not a round guy. He's not a camp invite. Let's be real. If I was a coach, I would tell him that. I would say, you can change it. We can change it. But right now, this is where we stand. Why am I throwing this in the air? I done been through that process, man. I know what that process look like. They ain't finna look at that dude. Let's be real.
Listen,
he's not a B-Ham Stallions guy right now. I wouldn't look at him as the B-Ham Stallions guy. Not right now. I'm being real. These coaches.
What's Skip Holtz doing? Is he still a Stallion? I heard he's trying to get back.
He's got 11 TDs, 8 picks, and he's at a QBR of 35.1.
You think anybody's going to be looking at that dude right now? Let's be honest. So nobody is trying to hear none of the fluff. Nobody is trying to hear. I don't want to hear any of that. I want to hear, hey, he can be a good starting quarterback in the AAC. Forget all of that other stuff, because you need to put the right in front of the left foot, and then you put the left in front of the right foot. Then you walk. Then you jog, and then you start to run a little bit, and you let all of that take care of itself. I feel like he tried to sell you on some stuff, and get you all hyped up, and it just kind of masks all of the, like putting makeup on the pig type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It don't work like that. You got to go out there and perform, man, and let the stats and let everything speak for itself, and let your body of work talk for you. I'm done with all of the talking. Best practices, NFL guys, the bright minds. How many quotables we got, y'all?
I got some receipts. Hey, Blazer Sports Line tomorrow night, Monday night, 6 p.m. Tune in, David Crane on the Coach Dilfer Show. You'll never know what you're gonna hear.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Did I skip one quotable?
No, you're good. Y'all want to do a basketball podcast? Because that would be really exciting.
Yeah. So do we cut
Okay.
this off and then just go to the basketball one?
Yeah, let's just be done with this. Hey, football will be back Saturday night at Memphis, 7:00, ESPN2. Be at the Liberty Bowl or watch ESPN2. But yeah, let's just do a basketball pod. Jimmy, go ahead and send us up.
Go Blazers, beat Memphis.